Hello and welcome to the second episode of my podcast. I'm Sunir Chowdhury and I'll be talking about the second one international between India and Australia, which will be played at the Gabba in Brisbane on Friday this week. India's loss in the first one day international could make them take some very interesting decisions vis-a-vis selections. But then again, it might not happen given the history that India have had of backing a set of players for a reasonable set of time before such a decision is taken. Well, that by itself isn't such a bad thing. It's always good to show faith to those who have been selected in the first place. There are some other aspects that need to be carefully considered by the management. At the expense of being repetitive, and I've said this quite often, the Indian selectors look to have underestimated the Australian conditions by naming just four seamers in the squad. Two of them were making comebacks into the ODI setup. One has rarely been backed by the captain, and the fourth was on a debut. There's a fifth medium pacer in the team in the form of a Rishi Dhawan, but he's not even been considered one by the skipper MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni had gone on to say before the first one-day international in the press conference that India lacks medium pace all-rounders, which is the kind of position that Rishi Dhawan had been selected for in the first place. That issue came to roost even before the first one international had started when Mohammad Shami was ruled out of the series with an injury and Ishant Sharma apparently suffered an injury of his own, a finger injury in fact, which left India with just two fit speedsters and Rishi Dhawan. Dhawan wasn't played obviously, and Shami's replacement Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who had just flown in a day before the game, had to be drafted into the playing 11. Now, about the bowling attack itself, and Dhoni went into the game with two spinners. We're talking about the first game here at the Wacker in Perth, where he played two spinners to go with his three medium pacers or three fast bowlers. On paper, there isn't too much wrong with this tactic, except that in those overs between 11 and 40, when there's an extra fielder inside the circle, it's difficult to see how would Indian spinners do anything of note bowling those 20 overs. And as if playing those two spinners on a very flat surface isn't bad enough, bowling them in tandem made the situation worse for India at the Wacker. Well, there are no obviously easy solutions. If Dhoni does include Rishi Dhawan for Ravindra Jadeja, for example, in the second match, that for everyone would be going back on what he said. But he's done it before in time as well, having said that Ajinkya Rahane doesn't have a place in the middle order during the series against South Africa, and then bringing Rahane in as a middle order batsman. He batted him at number 3, at number 5, at number 6, at different positions during that entire series. However, the other side of the coin is Rishi Dhawan the answer anyway? At best, Rishi Dhawan will be a like-for-like replacement for a Stuart Binney, one thinks. And it will be interesting to see if he can get any purchase off the surface bowling on those middle overs, because he'll obviously not get the new ball ahead of a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar or a Mohammad Shami, who's injured, in fact, Umesh Yadav, or even an Ishant Sharma. So he'll be bowling in those middle overs with the older ball, and that could be a problem. Remember, Dhawan's selection in the squad was based on all those wickets that he took in Ranji Trophy on surfaces in Dharamshala, which have assisted movement. Dharamshala surfaces typically have grass and not only seam, but there's also a lot of swing available out there. So those are the conditions in which Rishi Dhawan has got a lot of his wickets. Of course, a lot of this will depend on how the Gabba surface for the second one international between Australia and India plays, because if it does offer a little bit more to the bowlers, to the seam bowlers especially, unlike the one at Wacker, which was a flat one, it might not be that bad for India. What are the other options that India have? There is an Akshar Patel waiting in the ranks, a Gurkirat Singh Maan, and an Ishant Sharma. Well, my pick for the first game was Gurkirat Singh Maan, purely because he offered a bowling option as a sixth bowler in case things were probably going wrong for one of the first five bowlers. Turns out things did go wrong for the pair of Ashwin and Jadeja, who were taken for a lot of runs in that first match. But would Maan made any difference to the fortunes of the team? Probably not. Akshar Patel will be a like-for-like replacement for Ravindra Jadeja, but his batting at the international level hasn't been up to the scratch, thereby reducing the batting depth of the lineup. Jadeja was able to contribute a few runs in the first match as well, and generally speaking, has been a decent bet coming in at number 7 and hitting those 15-20 runs, quick fire 15-20 runs, especially at home. In that first match at the Waka, he did show that he could play a few shots as well abroad. He's coming off a few runs as Akshar Patel in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, though, so that could aid his selection. But will the selectors want to pick him in place of a Ravindra Jadeja when spin was actually the issue at the Waka remains to be seen. And then there is Ishant Sharma, who Dhoni will be hoping is fit for the second ODI. He should add much more potency to the attack. And on the basis of what happened in the first one international, it will be interesting to see who Ishant Sharma actually replaces, whether he replaces Jadeja. But then that would mean that India will be left with a batting depth problem. During the 2015 World Cup, in fact, Jadeja had clearly struggled on these very pitches while bowling, finishing with just 9 wickets at almost 40 runs apiece and an economy rate of 5.35. But he was still persisted with. So Ishant Sharma coming for Jadeja looks like a bit of a no-no to me based on what I've seen so far. Ishant Sharma could make it back into the team for a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, in fact. All in all, just one game into the series, there are a few headaches for Dhoni and company. What does Dhoni do from here? Well, there have been a few occasions in the past as well when India have managed to make a comeback from such situations. India were 1-0 down and then 2-1 down in the series against South Africa and managed to level it both times before losing the final match. But will they be able to do the same against Australia in this second match at the Gabba remains to be seen. This is me, Sunil Chowdhury, signing off, and I'll be back at the end of the second one international between Australia and India.